Today to everyone, and welcome to the. Today we're going to discuss the usage cases of the personal particles. Last time we did a little bit of introduction on the particles, so we're quite familiar with what are the personal particles. So in this class, we're going to talk about what are the particular usage of these particles, how are they used, and then also a case in which they are also used with names. So we'll try to understand them. So before we get to the actual lesson, let us begin with the verse and then after that we will talk about the particles and some of the rules pertaining the particles. So let me see if I can. I hope this is much better. So I think most probably everyone have a copy of this, so they can, if it's not very visible through the screen sharing, you may view it through the document that you have. Okay, so the first line, which is the line of dedication, is Yangchen or Chenpo. So you see that here also I'm also using the personal particle po. So Yangchen or Yangchen shirab drumela chachelo. And then the verse Tengi nime hesir chogun kyap siki dinso namkar rabdu kyam tanye chabasim gi sashila pabe tengi loto pabe tengi loto tu choke. So very quite unusual usage of the particle here. Normally you'll see the usage of this particle after choduke, but here I have used this particle with loto. Loto means an yearly harvest. Lo means year, and to refers to the harvest. So usually we in Tibet there is a particular time when the harvesting is happening. So the harvest is called where the farming is happening. So the crop or the harvest is called loto. So pabe tengi loto tu choke, which means that so the difference between using it here and using it here is that if we use it with loto tu choke, it means that the excellent harvest. Whereas if we use it as loto choduke, it means excellent blooming or excellent growth of the lotus the excellent growth of the harvest. So if you use tashakyutu with loto, it refers to the excellent quality of the harvest. If we change the position from loto tu choke to loto choduke, it doesn't mean the excellent quality of the particular crop or the harvest. It talks about the bountiful, meaning that the amount. So if you use it with loto, it talks about the quality of the harvest. If you use it with chok tu, it becomes the quantity of the harvest. So you see that even the position changes the meaning a lot. If I would say pabe tengi loto choduke, it means that a bountiful, a plentiful harvest is acquired. If I say, like in this particular sentence, I have written pabe tengi loto tu choke, it means that a very excellent quality of harvest is being acquired. So the difference being associating with loto or associating with excellent. So this is something. Okay, so Tengi nime höser chogun kyap, which means the son of meaning. So here what we have done is that we have used the personification, not personification, sorry. We have used it as an example. In Tibetan, we call it pege, pege, Pe means example. Ge means to use it as an ornament, meaning that to use it in a poetry in which we are providing the meaning. We are providing a meaning by giving an example. So here what we did is that we took meaning, which is te, and then we have used it, or we have visualized it as the sun. Because of the quality of sun that illuminates or dispels the ignorance or the darkness and makes the unknown known, unseen seen, uncertain certain. The sun, which is the meaning, the rays of the sun, which here is the meaning, or the essence of something, shines in all direction. The clouds of labels, so the clouds are understood as labels here, the clouds of labels wandering on the sky from here to there and spreading throughout, filling the entire sky. The rain that comes from the clouds of labeling, and as it falls on the soil of the mind, it arises, or it provides, or it gives birth to the harvest, the excellent harvest of meanings, which is the wisdom. So here too, this particular verse, I have focused on the understanding of the ultimate reality, which cannot be understood without the structuring of the conventional understanding of the conceptual or unconventional reality. So this is the verse. So I prostrate to the Great Mother Wisdom Lamp. So Great Mother, Yum Chembo, shut up wisdom, Dunme lamp, Chatselo, prostrate. The ray of sun of meanings shines in all directions. The clouds of labels fills as they wander across the sky. The rain of labels when falls on the soil of mind, due to which the harvest of meanings emerge, the excellent meanings, that is, it emerge. Okay, so with this verse, let us continue our lesson, and we go back to the verse from the Tree of Excellent Speech, which tells us which introduces us to the particles as well as the it introduces us to the particles as well as the usage cases of these particles. So let me read this. So there are two verse here. So let me read this. Naru yume papa ma dapu drate katana pama satan traktar pa nga rala tamela tatra yerkyur watani chala pa ni chorwalek mingthe papang pelche ta mani ngeme kaptang char. Okay, so what does this particular what these lines mean? So from the Tree of Excellent Speech, the particle pa pa ma, which is with or without the vowels naro. Here we are introducing the particles. So in this very first line and the half of the second line, what we're doing is we're simply introducing these particles. So there are 6 particles in total. So these are pa pa ma, with or without the vowel naro, the 4th vowel naro. So there are pa pa ma with naro and pa pa ma without naro. With naro, it will be po po mo. Without this vowel, it will be pa pa ma. So there are 6 personal particles, which are pa po, pa po, ma mo. And these 6 particles are known as personal particles, tatra. So the personal particles, and then now we're going to this the part which tells us the association or the usage cases. The personal particles pa So pa, when it's used as a personal particle, is associated with the suffix letter ka, ta, na, pa, ma, sa. So these are the suffix letters with which we are associating the personal particle pa, which is ka, ta, na, pa, ma, sa. Not only that, we're also associating it with the post-suffix letter, that is tak, tar. And this post-suffix letter has been appearing again and again and again in many of the particles, especially the dependent particles that we have studied. So the word tak, tar, or tata, or yangju ta, these are three words that have the same meaning. So if many of you are also familiar with the fundamental epistemology, we use a term called tunchik. So which means that all of these are different words, but they are of the same nature, same meaning. So therefore, the word taktar, the word tata, the word yangju ta are same, have the same meaning. They all refer to the post-suffix letter ta. Though the usage of the post-suffix letter ta has been discontinued after the end of the second language revision, throughout the third language revision and the current system of Tibetan language, we don't use the tata or the post-suffix letter ta. But still, since it was in use when this particular text was, or when this particular text was composed, so therefore the rules dictates that the personal particle. So here, to understand that we're using pa or po. Where we use pa, we also use po. So pa and po goes together, pa and po goes together, ma and mo goes together. So the personal particle pa or po, used as a personal particle here. Here it is used as a personal particle. So in case when it's used as a personal particle, is associated with suffix letter ka, ta, na, pa, ma, sa. Meaning if a name has a suffix letter of ka, ta, na, pa, ma, sa, it will be followed by the suffix, will be followed by the personal particle pa or po. And then it is also used with tak, tar, or the post-suffix letter ta. Then, if it is used, now then the other usage, other rule it tells us is the usage of nga, rala, tame. So, in an particle wa is associated with nga, rala, and tame means without suffix letter. But this also has an inferential understanding that if it's an even syllable, then if the suffix letter is nga, rala, or is without tame, without any suffix letter, it will be followed by pa, po. And definitely sometimes this particular rule may not be followed exactly for some words. And that is the reason why these are not considered to be dependent particles. These are considered to be independent particles. Because we know that when it comes to the dependent particles, the rules which are stated in reference to the association based on suffix letters should be followed, and that there are no exceptions there. But with the independent particles, there is a general outline, like most of these will behave in this way, but then there are also exceptions where you will see that they may not exactly function in this way. So therefore, it is because of this very reason that the independent particles, even though they may have a general outline of how it functions, how it works, but sometimes there are exceptions. So here you may see, like I'm saying, that these are the things where you see that it follows the particle pa and po. These are the cases where it will be followed by the personal particle wa or wo. But then you will see in certain cases that it may not be an odd syllable. So what do I mean by odd syllable? It means a name or a word that has an odd number of syllable. An odd syllable, how? Odd syllable not excluding the particle. When you include the particle, it has to be an odd syllable. For example, if we have the word ka-lo-wa. So the word kalowa, we see that there are 3 syllables here. The first one is ka, the second one is lo, the third one is wa. So this kalowa, it has odd number of syllable. Because it has odd number of syllable, we see that it will be followed by wa in this case, because you see there are 3 numbers of syllables. For word like, for example, we have the word nyapa. Nyapa means someone that that catches fish, that sustains by have a livelihood of selling fish. So nyapa. So nyapa has 2 syllable. So including the particle, if there are 2 syllable or even number of syllable, that is, then we use the particle pa. But this is not stated in the text itself. It is something that is inferential. It says that if it is an odd syllable, you use wa. Then by this logic, we infer that if it's an even syllable, we use pa. So therefore, if any name that has nga, ha, ra, la, and tame, in case of odd syllable, it will be followed by wa. In case of even syllable, it will be followed by pa. So here it is written, in case of an even syllable, it is best to associate with only the personal particle pa. So the particle pa or wa can be mostly associated and placed at the end of a name. Here the name should be understood as the general term, things that makes a word. So in Tibetan language, it's a very this particular concept is also something that is quite particular to Tibetan language, which is the concept of name, naming word, and word, which we have discussed during the first grammatical case. Then the association of the particle ma is uncertain, meaning that it can come with pa. Sometimes it can also come where we are using wa. So we cannot say that, oh, if you use pa and po, you have to use ma and mo. If you use wa and wo, you cannot use ma and mo. No, it can be used in cases where you are using pa and po. It can be used in some cases where you're using pa and po. So it's not certain. There is no rules that tells you that ma and mo can come at a particular usage case. And so with this, we see we have covered the 6 particles and the general understanding on how they are used. So these type of particles, as you know, will only be understood as a usage, as a statement, where it is not an entire statement as like a sentence, but rather a singular words. This we have already seen during the recompound particles and the first grammatical case, where the examples were just single names or single name or single word as a statement. Okay, so this is the table that tells you the gist of this particular verse that you have seen. So the particle pa and po. So pa, if it follows by pa, it will be followed by po. In this case, we see that it will follow the suffix letter ka, ta, na, pa, ma, sa, and then the post suffix letter ta. When it has to be associated with suffix letter ngaha, rala, and without words without any suffix letters, if it's an even syllable name or even syllable word, then we use pa and po. If it's an odd syllable word or odd syllable name, we use wa and war. But also to understand that in some cases, it may not be applicable. You will see examples where this is not applicable. It's a general overview. It's a general outline of how it should be understood. But there are cases where these won't be exactly as it has been stated. So the first usage case is usage as personal particles. So these are the examples, as you see. The first one is 청바. 청바. The first syllable is 청. The second syllable is ba. So the ca, as we know, is, so this is something that may directly not be related to this. The ca is a sound that some of the students are having problem pronouncing. So please work on that. Ca. It seems to be a particular sound that many people have problem with. Ca. So it's 청. 청. Sometimes it is pronounced as song. So it should be 청. And the sound comes between the top of the mouth, and the actual sound comes between the tongue and the top of the mouth. So ca, ca. And the sound is being produced, though it comes from between that, but this will be a sound that is understood to be produced by the teeth. Ca, ca. So 청. 청바, which means shopkeeper, someone who owns a shop. Drubpay, the first syllable is drog, the second syllable is pa. Drubpay means nomad. Chakpa, chak is the first syllable, pa is the second syllable. Chakpa, which means robber. Kepa, ke, first syllable, pa, second syllable. As you see, most of these do follow the rule. It does follow the general rule. Kepa, which means a sweeper, someone who does sweeping. Then with wa, we have said that it follows an odd number of syllable. So hasawa. Hasawa, 3 syllable, which means a person from Lhasa. Amdowa. Now this we have already covered in previous lessons. Why Amdo? Because in the context of this colloquial Tibetan, we have a rule where what we do is that we can, if there is the first syllable which doesn't have a suffix letter and the second syllable that has a prefix letter, what we do is that we can actually take that prefix letter, and then while pronouncing, we can use it as the suffix letter to the first syllable. And this also makes the pronunciation more smoother. It makes an easier transition from the first syllable to the second. So amdo. Otherwise, it will be ado. And you see that ado is not a very smooth transition. So amdo, amdowa, which means a person from Amdo region of Tibet. Kalowa, kalowa, which means a driver. Yarlungwa, yarlungwa, Yarlung, which is the first, which according to the documented history is the first capital of Tibet, or the Tibet that we understand at that time, which was under the first king of Tibet, Nyati Tsempo. Yarlung, Yarlungwa, a person from Yarlung. Then Yokpo, the first syllable is yok, the second syllable is po, yokpo, which means a servant. Takpo, the first syllable is tak, second one is po, which means the master or the owner. Jempo, the first syllable is jen, the second syllable is po, which means an elder brother. Me po, me, which means which which is the first syllable, po, which is the second syllable. This means the ancestor. Mepo means ancestor. Pa wo. So we see that when we are using wo, it may not directly follow the rules which are applicable to wa. So pa wo, it is said that when used with nga ha ra la, meaning that suffix letter with nga ha ra la, and without suffix letter, it should follow an odd number syllable. But we see that wo does not follow the same as the wa. In most cases, it does, but in case of this rule, it doesn't. So pao, which means hero, shao, which means someone that cannot walk, lame, someone who cannot walk, dao, which means enemy, and jeo, which means lord. So as you can see, example of usage as a personal particle. And so these are the English translation of the names, as you can see. Shopkeeper, nomad, robber, sweeper, person from Lhasa, person from Amdo, driver, person from Yarlung. Servant, male, master, female, male, older brother, ancestor, hero, lame, enemy, and lord. Okay, so the first usage case, as we saw, was to show, was used as a personal pronoun, meaning it showed someone that that was portrayed as someone, as a subject, someone that owns something. So it's more like someone that is understood. It makes the name into something that becomes more of like a subject here, or the object also, in case of being a person. So therefore, the first usage case is personal, as a personal particle. Now, the second usage case is used in case of representing gender. So, we have word in Tibetan, which represents the male and the female, po and mo. And then this is usually understood by the usage of the personal particle. And the difference is that words like pa, po, and sometimes wo is something that may or may not be certain in terms of representing gender. Sometimes it is more like a neutral. It's more like a neutral particle. It doesn't represent either gender at that time. Meaning, like, especially when it's used with something that is not human, it is also used. And sometimes it's also used for. Let me rephrase it. It's not that it doesn't represent either gender. Sometimes it represents both the gender, like it could be a term that can be a more like a term that can be used in general for both of the genders. So here, used in case of representing genders. So two genders, po, mo, male and female. So the first term is sheba. The second term is shema. Sheba means singer, male. Shema means singer, female. Second term, gelpo. Gelmo. Gelpo, king. Gelmo, queen. It has the first syllable, which is gel. Gel means gel here should be understood as the kingdom. So gelpo means the one who is the ruler of the kingdom. And gelmo, the female ruler of a kingdom. Dakpo, dakmo, dakpo, understood as the master or the owner, male. Dakmo, master or owner, female. And this word dakmo is also used in the lineage of, I think it's probably the lineage of the Sakya, where they also use this particular word dakmo for the noble consort. So the fourth one is garpa, or karma. Definitely, let me emphasize on the sound because it would be wrong if I would pronounce it incorrectly. So karpa and karma. So karpa means male dancer. Karma means female dancer. Mopa, moma. Mopa means a male, a male, a male fortune teller, or a male who does prophecies or divinity. And then moma means a female who does prophecies, fortune telling, or divinity. Jianpo, which is the elder brother. Jianmo, which is the elder sister. Jiao. We have this word jie, which comes with the term, for example, jie zun jianbei, jie rinpoche, jie zongkapa, jie lama, which means the Lord. So someone to whom we have already submitted all of our body, speech, and mind, and then we're taking refuge to them, saying that, please take care of us in a way. You see, please guide us in a way. So, jiao. And this may not be not the case. It could also mean the Lord, because we must also understand that at a certain part in Tibet, we had the form of government that was in power, both in the central and the remote areas were the aristocracy. So therefore, they were lords. So jiao and jiemo. Jiao, Lord. Jiemo, lady. Benpo, benmo. Benpo means leader, male. Benmo means leader, female. So you see that in most cases, it is just the usage of the pa-po for the male and mamo for the female. And then there are some cases where we also have wo, which is for the male, and mo, which is for the mo and ma is definitely for the female. But in case of male, there are some cases where we have wo. Okay, so this is the usage case of the personal particle in terms of representing the genders, telling masculine and the feminine, male and female gender of a person, that is. So as we know, the term personal particle, we are only using it to represent a person here. But still, when we talk about a person, there are many different details regarding that person. So therefore, these particles function in that way. And all of this, like the first one, personal particle, second one, representing the gender, this one, third one, where we have other particles, ken, jen, den. These all should be understood as personal particles. And there are only two usage cases. Even though you may see 1, 2, 3, all of these three comes under the usage case of personal particle, usage as a personal particle, representing a person. All of these, at the end of the day, it represents a person. But you'll see that after this, there will be another usage case, which is being as a part of a name. And these are the usage case in which the same particle will be used to represent not a person, of things, or it could be any other words other than representing a person. So therefore, usage case, personal particles usage as representing person and representing other things than the person. So when it comes to representing person, there are three usage cases. The first one is usage case to represent as a personal particle. Second one, to represent the gender. The third one, usage of particles other than po, po, mo, and papama. We have also other alternative particles such as ken, chen, and den. These are particles which can be used in order to represent a person, But then there are usage cases which are also because then talks more about the possessiveness, something that possesses something. Chen also talks about someone having or possessing something, whereas Ken represents the person. Definitely, all of these represent person, but Ken actually represents is used to represent the person itself, rather than telling that the person possesses something. So, Ken tang jian tang ding ki perchu. First one is Xing Ken. Xing Ken. The first syllable Xing, the second syllable is Ken. The particle is Ken. The name is Xing. So Xing Ken, which means the carpenter, the one who knows how to work with the wood or the trees. Sorry, the wood. The one who knows how to work with the wood, how to make things using wood. Xing Ken. Le Ken. Le Ken. First syllable is le, second syllable is Ken, name is le, and the particle is Ken, le Ken, which means the person that does work, that a person that does work, le Ken. Xie Ken, xie, the first syllable, Ken, the second syllable, xie is the name, Ken is the particle. Xie Ken means a person who knows. We can say Tarin ki Tsikche di Sheken Suyu. Who is the one that knows about today's particle? Sheken. Nyo Ken. Nyo is the name. And Ken. Nyo is actually a word here because Nyo means to buy. And Ken is the particle. Nyo Ken. The one who buys, meaning the buyer or the consumer. So the second one, possessing a particular quality. Ningjie Jian. Ningjie Jian. It has three syllables. Ningjie Jian. The name is Ningjie, which is in here a particular characteristic, which means to have compassion or mercy. Jian means to possess, so someone that has mercy, so merciful. An adjective here. Yuandian Jian. Yuandian Jian. The three syllable Yuan Dian Jian. Yuandian, the name which represents knowledge or education. Jian, or good qualities. Jian means someone that possesses this good quality or knowledge. Yuandian Jian. A person that is educated, or the person that has so Yuandian Jian is a person who is educated. Sherab Jian. Sherab Jian. Three syllable. Sherab Jian. She, which represents knowledge, which is the short form of the word sheja, knowledge. Rab means the most excellent, the best knowledge, which is the wisdom. Sherab Jian, possessing the most excellent knowledge, which is the wisdom. So a person who possesses wisdom, which means the wise person, or the wise man, or the wise. Simjian. Here only two syllables. Simjian. Sim. Jian. Sim meaning someone that possesses the mind. Sim means mind, and Jin means possessing. So someone that possesses the mind, or who is conscious, the sentient. Shede. She. De. We have two syllables, she and de. She, which is sheja. De means possessing. Sheja means knowledge. De means possessing. So knowledgeable person or educated person. So Yuandian Jian and Shede are can be used interchangeably, meaning that they are synonymous. Pelde. So two pronunciation for this word. Some people will pronounce it as palde. Some people will you will hear two pronunciation for this, palde and pelde, both of which are correct. Pelde or palde. Two syllables, pal and de. De means to possess. Pal means magnificence, majesty, or being magnificent. So someone that possesses the quality of being magnificent. Palde. Lo de, lo, din, lo. Here, the word lo refers, normally lo, rikpa, shepa are all synonymous, which means consciousness or the mind. Lo, rikpa, and shepa. Here, lo should be understood as intelligence, not as the mind, but intelligence. Lo de, possessing intelligence, someone that is clever or who is intelligent. Then we have the word jor de. First syllable jor, second syllable de. Jor means wealth. De means to possess. So someone that possesses wealth. Jor de. So this is the example of the usage of the particle ke, je, de. Je and de mostly used with the understanding of possessing certain quality or characteristic, or also someone that has something more like a materialistic thing, so possession. Whereas ke talks more about a person as a subject, like carpenter. Like we have things like carpenter or policeman or a writer, composer, singer. Luke means the one who sings. Karke. So very sorry to exit the full screen, but let me write here something. So seems that I cannot access this from here. Let me see if I can access it from here. Yes, I can do this. Okay, so previously you have seen this karpa and karma, and k is a neutral term. What do I mean by neutral term? It doesn't represent any gender. It is neither. It represents. No, this is something that is. I think I'm explaining it wrong. It represents both the gender. So both male and female. Okay, but we see the word karpa and karma, which means the male dancer and the female dancer, and we can also say karke, which means someone that dances. So neither it does not specifically represent, meaning that it doesn't function to represent either of the genders specifically, but then it can be used for both the genders. So to represent both the male and the female dancer. Karke. Lupa and Luma, which is male, and Lu means singing. So male and female singers. Then Luke is a term that says singer, but without specifically talking about which gender. Nyapa and Nyama. Nyapa means someone that catches fish, male and female, right? So here, if we say Nyake, it is not there isn't, it can be used, but it's not usually used in this way, meaning that we don't use it in this way. No, normally Nyapa and Nyama. So for some words, we see that K is not very popularly used with, but some words we do use it. Okay, so as you have seen, this particular word K has a usage case which shows someone as person who is having a particular job, who's doing a particular job. Shinke, leke, sheke, nyoke, doke, leke, labke, jangke, one who studies or learn, one who teaches. Okay, so example of the particle usage of particle ke, che, and de, which are not the six particles, personal particles that are stated in the text. So the first one is carpenter, second one is tough, third one is educated, sheke, or someone who knows. So all three you see, if you look diagonally, you can see that these are all educated, and yes, they mean educated and can be used. This is educated not as someone who has an education qualification like going to school, but educated in a particular skill, or educated in a particular field or a particular topic. So someone who knows. Then buyer, nyoke is buyer. Ningje che, merciful. Yuande che, educated. Sherab che, wise. Simje, sentient. Shede, educated. Palde, magnificent. Lode, intelligent. Jorde, wealthy. We also have the other word. Let me write it here. But this is not with the usage of the. Yes, this is also usage. But then for that we are using the other particle po, chukpo, which means rich or wealthy. And Jordan also means the same thing, which is rich or wealthy. Okay, so now the final usage case is mingicha. Mingicha means a part of a name. Mingiche, meaning used as a part of name. So we have word like sampa, ruo, sampa. First syllable is sam, second is pa, ruo, ri, wo, rakpa, rakpa, chamo, chamo, shepa, shepa, rawa, rawa, chenpo, chenpo, ringwa, ringwa, nawa, nawa, rekpa, rekpa, pungpo, pungpo. Here you may see the usage of these particles pa, wa, wo, ma, po. But these are not used to represent person. Rather, they are part of names. So the first one, sampa, which means bridge. Second one, ruo, means mountain. Rakpa means gross, something that is very apparent, meaning gross understanding. Tamo means subtle understanding. Sheba, consciousness. And Sheba Sheba as a noun is consciousness. Sheba as a verb is to know. Rawa, boundary. Chempo, big. Ringwa. Ringwa is actually, it's let me see if I can change it. It should be understood as taller. Ringwa should be understood as taller. Ringwa. And then nawa means to fall sick, to fall ill. Rekpa, touch. Pungpo, aggregate. And so with this, we understand that this can also be used as a part of name. So these are the usage cases of the personal particles. So first three usage as personal particles, final usage as a part of name. So in total, 4 usage cases. three usage case subgroup of personal particle, and the final one is usage as the part of name. So here, even in the so Dagda, personal particle, Mingta, at the end of a name, part of a name. So two usage case, Dagda and Mingicha. So Dagda, which has three sub usage case. One is to show personal, person as a person. Second one to represent a gender. And third one, particles which are not papo, papo, mamo, but still can represent person. First one as a subject, the second two showing possessing something. And then finally, the second usage case is that as a part of a name, which comes at the end of a name. And with this, we're done with the usage cases of the personal particles. So personal particles does not have a lot of usage cases, and most of the usage cases are quite easier to understand than some of the past particles that we have done. So before I go to the final verse, do we have any questions regarding the personal particles today? Do we have any questions regarding personal particles? Lasso? Yes?
Tashidile.
Tashidele?
Balgukiduge.
Lo. Lasso?
I have a question about first poetry.
Okay. Yes?
Please show the screen. Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Here we have very beautiful poetry. When you compare the phenomena of mind with the natural phenomena, and we have four phenomena of natural, which are Nima. The second is Tinsok. The third is Charpa, and the last is Lotok.
Yes.
I'm not pointed to auxiliary in the third line. If we look at the phenomena of mind, we have only three. Tsik and then again.
Yes.
How you reflect these three to these four? Please make some explanation. Thank you.
Okay, so here we have to understand that the first two phenomena, that is Te and Tsik, they are similar to the second two phenomena, which is Tanye and Te. But the difference is that in the first two, what we're actually referring to is the function of Te and Tsik, which is the meaning and the word. Whereas in the second two line, we are referring to the nature of these two, which is Tanye and Te. In first, we are referring to the function of meanings and the function of name. We are saying that, the function of name is to show the many different manifestations that we see in our day-to-day life. And the function of Te is to illuminate them and to illuminate all the delusions that may come with the appearance. So Tsik functions to show the appearance, Te functions to show the actual nature of things. But the second two does not talk about the function, but rather it talks about the nature. The first talks that the Tsik, which is the label, is of the nature of conceptual or the conventional reality, whereas the Te, which is the excellent meaning in this case, talks about the ultimate reality or the ultimate reality or the ultimate nature of things. So first two, functions of meaning and word. Second two, nature of meaning and word. So though it may seem four different functions, there are only two, which is Te and Tsik.
So the first turn and the last turn is different, right?
Yes.
Mm.
The first turn and last turn is different. And first sik and tanya is different also.
Thank you.
Lasso. Okay. So do we have any other questions for today's lesson? Lasso. Mingte papa and pelcheta refers to papa as part of the word. No, this is papa as part of name. Mingte papa. So this is in this case. It says that it means that most of the time we have pa and pa at the end of the name, and at uncertain cases we might also have ma, like in Tamil we have here. So this is what it is stating. For the most cases we will have pa and wa, or yes, wa. It is pronounced wa, so pa and wa. But in uncertain cases, meaning that sometimes we may also have ma. Lasso. So I hope this clarified it. So do we have anyone who wants to recite the fifth portion? Do we have anyone who wants to recite? Anyone who's willing to recite the fifth portion? Lasso. So Lasso. So please recite the fifth portion. Lasso. 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 So thank you for reciting this. Now we end our class today with the final verse. The final verse is also quite similar to the first verse, where I have provided. So we are going to specifically focus on most of the verse. We are going to focus on meaning word, because because we have already discussed this many classes ago. We said that this text, which is the 30, is understood as a text which is used to illuminate or to emerge wisdom within oneself, and also is a part of the wisdom basket. So therefore we will be focusing on word, we'll be focusing on names meaning, and hope that it also helps to understand the conventional and the ultimate reality. Lasso. And also know that many a times it may seem that so I'm trying to limit my bias on the prasangik madhyamika and trying to write the verse as much as possible in the general understanding, rather than inserting the philosophy of the prasangik madhyamika. Lasso. Tsigi junshin rabdu kebayi tuengi tribu simki marosu selnang mepe kunsop semjenam tuendam seki rabdu tsawarki. Let me repeat this. Tsigi junshin rabdu kebayi tuengi tribu simki marosu selnang mepe kunsop semjenam tuendam seki rabdu tsawarki. So what does it mean? It means the excellent growth of the tree of speech heals the scars of mind. And here the scars of mind should be understood as the ignorance that we have within ourselves. Heals the scars of mind, the ignorance, with the fruit of meaning. meaning here refers to the teachings and the excellent teachings of the great teachers. The uncertain and delusions, which is the beings of conventional reality, are sustained by the food of the ultimate reality. So here the beings are just a personification. In reality, it doesn't mean a being as a sentient. Here the being should be understood as all the manifestation that is conventionally existing. It could be the table, it could be the pain, it could be the suffering, it could be the temporary joy and pleasure. It could be the idea, anything which is conventionally existing. So for them to exist, it should, at the core, it should be also sustained by the ultimate reality. So till this point, I have only been saying, oh, for the ultimate reality, the conventional reality should be there. But this time I flipped the rules. I've said that for the for the conventional reality to also exist, there should also be an ultimate reality. And this, if one would like to explore this understanding, then I would also like to suggest understanding the philosophy of the Swatantik Madhyamika. So the two branches of the Madhyamika, the Prasangic and the Swatantik. So try to understand the Swatantik Madhyamika. So that could shine some light in this particular case. So with this, most wonderfully, we end today's lesson. And thank you very much for joining in. And I hope that this lesson was beneficial to every one of you as much as it was enjoyable for me to teach. And I hope that with revision and with continuous recitation, the text would be memorized by every one of you. So I would like to wish every one of you a good morning, evening, and afternoon, wherever you are. And I will see every one of you for the next class. For the next class, Lasso Tashitele, and thank you.